couple things I forgot to mention is I should have bled this. I was going right to left. I should have bled this left to right because I should have started with this valve because it's going to push air through the manifold this way. Then I could shut this valve off, open this one, and it should push air up and just work my way along, and it'd push the air out this way because this is the direction of flow. I started backwards. I started here, so it could have been pushing air. Even though these valves were closed, it wouldn't have pushed air into these other zones because they were all isolated with the valves, but it could have been pushing air back through this pipe. So I went this way, and it, the air coming up could have been going this way, I guess. I bled it from right to left. I got to this zone, and then I shut that off, and I opened these other ones back up, and I did get some more air come out of those, so I just bled it back along this way, just opened each one up and let it flow for a little while until I wasn't getting any more air out. So that's my mistake there, but I think I got it good now. I've opened everything back up and flowed it for a few minutes after I had a steady stream of water coming out, and I wasn't getting any more air. I'm going to secure those pipes with straps. I mean, I'm not done everything on this system. It's almost ready to fire up, but it's not 100% complete yet. There's still some loose ends I'm tying up. So I think I explained that this valve is closed so that the water has to flow one direction. If this valve was open, the water could just flow right up through here and out this valve, this hose that I put on here to bleed it. That's likely what would happen because there's a lot less resistance through this circuit than there would be going through the rest of it. That is what would happen. So if you're going to do this, you have to have some sort of way of isolating it. See, another way I could have done this if I had another valve. Well, I think I could have done it this way. Is we could even attach a hose to the sink there, and then up to here. Close this valve, and then open that valve, close this valve, drain through here. I think that would have worked too. But it's just easier because I've got a fill valve. You're going to have a fill valve that's going to make up for any water that could have been lost through the system anyway. That's automatic fill valve, backflow valve, and it's going to allow water to come into your in-floor heat system if it's needed. So that's the way I filled this one, because that's just the simplest and easiest. Another way I was thinking too, that if you didn't want to just flow water into the sink and drain it, what you could do is have a reservoir, like a drum full of water with a pump in it, and just instead of filling through the fill valve, just pump it into one of your valves, allow it to circulate through the system, and have this clear hose going into a drum where your pump is pumping out of. And then even if this clear hose was under the water level, then you could just watch bubbles coming out of it, and you would know when the air escaped, and just keep filling that barrel until your heat system, all your zones are filled. So that's one way that you could use less. You wouldn't waste any water doing it that way, or you'd waste a lot less water. That's not, I didn't really have the setup for that. I don't really have access to a pump that would do the trick for this system. So that's what I did. It was just the quickest, easiest way to do it. The clear hose here I just bought at the home supply place. It's a 3/4, it's a 1/2-inch hose, and then I just put a garden hose end on it. This just came from a building supply store because they didn't have any clear hose on a spool that I could buy by the foot. I had to buy this 10-foot piece and build this myself, but that's very simple to build. Alternatively, if you didn't want to do that, you could use a garden hose. I wanted to be able to see the bubbles come through the plastic hose, but if you used a hose that wasn't clear, you could just watch it or put it under the water level of a bucket or something like that, even run it outside and just watch the bubbles come out of it, and then you'd know when the bubbles quit, and just flow it for a few minutes after air is done purging out of the system, and you would see that you could be able to tell when the air was all out. This one, I've been flowing it, and I'm pretty sure the air is all out of this system, so that's good. I think I'm just about ready to start it up. The other thing that the plumber told me to do is, on initial startup, circulate your pump for like 3 weeks, and then any small amounts of air will come out your air valve here that's in the system permanently. And then when you do start your system up and you turn the heat on and turn your thermostat up, then you're going to want to open one zone at a time. So circulate through each zone and see if it gets warm. Make sure it's getting warm and it's circulating. Then turn your next zone on, turn that zone off, and just work your way back through the system with heat to make sure that you've got heat in every zone. So that's what I'll do when I'm ready to start heating, which isn't going to be for a little while, but I do have to get this boiler working and purged and circulating before the weather gets cold here. Got a little while yet, but I'm well on my way. So I hope this video helps. Let's get a discussion going in the comment section if you got something to add to this, or if I've misinformed anybody here, definitely mention it in the comments. Please be gentle, and I'm looking forward to the conversation.